To start up on Babylon here for this best of 5 series between Dark and MaxPax. This is from the Red Cross Cup. We've been casting a few of these replays and stuff, and yeah, let's get down to it and see what might happen. As in the bottom right side, we are going to start off with the Red Zerg player who drops the GL to start us off. It is Dark. He takes on the Blue Pros player in the top left corner of the map from Sidestorm Gaming. This is MaxPax. Alright then, map 1 of this best of 5, and we'll see just what's going to go down. I genuinely am a little bit excited here. I feel like we've got a good chance of seeing something very fun. Obviously, Dark, MaxPax, usually a fun combo because Dark's a very aggressive player. MaxPax is obviously a fairly aggressive player in this day and age as well. You know, when you talk about styles of play, like these two should really match up against each other in a pretty fascinating, non-standard way. You should really get something pretty intriguing. I want to say almost every time these guys play, but obviously sometimes you can just see some adepts and they do too much and then game ends and stuff. But the general idea, I think, is that there's definitely a world where this can be a very exciting experience. I'm really looking forward to this and seeing what we get. We saw on Babylon, this is new patch, this is new maps. So this is all fresh, new, etc. As we just settle down with a pro coming in, nibbling up a little bit. I'm just going to have a Cybercore coming through as well here, so then it will just begin to come online. Everything looking kind of just as it should for now. When you look across the entirety of these builds, I'm just going to see our probe making a little bit of nibbling progress over here. Nothing too fascinating, just kind of the norm. Right, harass, you know, you've blocked that hatchery initially, and we're just going to stick with that kind of the plan for these early minutes. Pro comes running away even. Getting out of there just for a quick moment or two. Twilight Council going to be the opening here from MaxPax, so he's going to opt for the Twilight. I wouldn't say that's too crazy or anything either, right? That's pretty on par for MaxPax and how he likes to play recently, so not really surprised about that in the slightest. I would have been more shocked if MaxPax had maybe not gone Twilight Council. On a map, especially on new maps as well, I feel like Protoss players and MaxPax, they really like just the adepts. It's sometimes just harder to know what you need to be scouting and where you need to be scouting with, like, a Stargate, for example, and it's more easy that you get caught off guard. So, yeah, I'm just going to be seeing one drone going down, initial adept harassing. No, I feel we'll probably mix up a bit as MaxPax. I feel like this is one of the shorter maps in the map pool as well, though, so if you do want to use adepts on a shorter map, this is going to be one of your options compared to some of the others that do exist, as a few lings have been making their way around. Well, it's a lot of lings from Dark, 20 drones, so he's going to just straight up link for to try and win this out. He brought the drones even to try and nibble through a little bit, which is obviously a little bit... he didn't bring many, he just brought a couple to try to help out here. And it's a full wall from MaxPax, though, being able to know what's going on pretty much gives him a very good defense right off the get-go, so we are going to be seeing the robotics facility following. Glaive's going to get up, and this is really bad for Dark. He's made a ton of unity, and he's gotten absolutely nothing out of it, so that's really bad. And I feel as though this is going to put him into a pretty tough position. All said and done, coming out of this. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a tough little scenario in general. So let's see what we do. Let's see what we get going. I mean, you're just going to be behind on workers from where you should be. These lings that you made early don't really help because you're playing lings against adepts, right? I mean, that doesn't really go very well for you. Just not an ideal situation, to say the least, here starting out. But unfortunately, such is the way of things sometimes. And we're just going to have ourselves feelings continue to move around into the center, trying to see if there's much else that they can get done over these early few moments. As our Prism comes online, we're going to try and get the Roach Roar, and Doc's just recently hit 40. Yeah, but just recently hit about 40 workers. So the problem is he wouldn't have, would have typically wanted to get here way sooner than he did. And the fact that he has not is definitely problematic, as our lanes do catch a few of these Adepts, but the Adepts will not even shade away from this fight. They're just going to take it with open arms. They love it. They take it, and they will take that very easily, as our feelings continue to chase in. Adepts will continue to take some damage, but they're dealing more damage than they're taking, and MaxPax Dark Shrine behind this as well is going to keep Dark on the back foot pretty much throughout the entirety of this game, it would seem. So, yeah, looks like we're just going to head that way. Let's see a few Adepts coming through already. Just going to continue to jump on top of these first few Roaches. Scan on top of those pretty quick. The Adepts get into the natural. There's just not enough damage output on these Adepts, and there's not enough to really keep up with these Adepts either, so this really is not going great. It's just going to be seeing Adepts now shading over into the main base. Drones have to pull away. We are minimizing drone losses, but we're not making any progress on the Adepts. They're killing Queens over here. Obviously, we've got Dark Templar about to show up as well. I don't think Dark has any preparation for DTs. And if he doesn't leave the game before then, the DTs probably will get him to leave this game, because this one is bloody murder. Our Dark is just getting absolutely jumped on here, there, and everywhere, it would seem. Smalljohn's going down, Adepts will turn again. GG says Dark, and MaxPax is going to find himself game 1 of this opening best of 5 here today. So MaxPax gets himself very funky. Just a little bit different without being, like, super crazy, which I'm obviously always a fan of, I would say. It was, I feel like that's pretty neat. In the bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player is going to be Dark. And in the top right, our blue Protoss player from Sidestorm Gaming. Give it up if you're cheering on MaxPax. Alright, then our probe becomes venturing around, and we're going to drop a gateway in at the front here. So just going to get that started, as Overlord will come across, have a little bit of a scout. So far, so good. Everything kind of as expected so far, right? MaxPax blocks the hatchery, forces it away. Plus, he was kind of at this point in the last game, it was also pretty regular and as expected up until this stage. So, I'd say no twists, no turns, and just a question of how these two players will follow up from each other here. Spawn pool goes down, and X is still building up on the natural on MaxPax's side. And like I say, a bit of a bigger map. I wouldn't be too surprised to maybe see MaxPax opt toward a Stargate or so on this one. Something just a little bit different. Maybe not the Adepts this time around. Just thinking about the map for... It's actually not a bad map for jumping around with Adepts on, but... Yeah, let's see, I suppose, what he's planning. Is MaxPax going to IEM? I'm pretty sure MaxPax didn't qualify for IEM, did he? Either way, I don't think he's going to be attending. It would have been everywhere if he was attending. Twilight Council is producing. Just putting that to work here early on. As you got Stalker, Chrono Boost, now Twilight Council about halfway done. And a couple of things just going to make their way up in toward the natural here. still just got that Stalker Corona boost now at the gateway and bringing all of this up and online. One Ling just going to start nibbling at, you know, a worker here and a worker there. So again, just little bits and pieces of damage being dealt for these early stages. Stepped, comes around and going to be having ourselves Slaves again. So I was incorrect, guys. I honestly really thought we were going to see maybe a Stargate, but MaxPax is going to disagree with me. He says no. Wardy, absolutely not. Twilight Council again. To be fair, he never really got to use the Adept. Well, he obviously got to use the Adept last game, but he was already in a winning position because of the opening. This game he's going to be setting up from just more of a macro setup into this right away, right? So a bit of a different approach. Roach building up, just getting those produced, and just going to be having ourselves the Glaives ticking along. So this time Dark 38 drones obviously got there much sooner. That was not as much of a concern for him. So he's getting himself into a way better spot way more quickly. Get these Lings still producing, the Ravagers still coming up as well, so all of that is coming along pretty reasonably for the moment, I would say. As this Adept attack will set up now. This is Adept without a Robo, so you're not going to be able to reinforce behind this, right? So once these Adepts are committed, they are very much so committed, right? Is the important thing to note here, so... We having our Adepts actually getting caught by a couple of the Ravagers and all the Lings, so we just get a pretty quick recall. We back away from this before anything really comes of it, so pretty quick just getting out of that plan. Don't hate that, right? If things aren't looking good for you, just abandon. Don't try and push it into something which isn't going to work, right? Don't try and make it, you know, something out of this that it just can't be. Now we've got these Lings and Ravagers saying, hey, we pushed this back so easily, maybe we can get something done across the map. So they're going to dive in. The Lings get good surrounds. The Corrosive Bile towards the Adepts, which forced them back. I would have maybe liked to just see Corrosive Biles on the Adepts that were surrounded. I feel like there was definitely an opportunity there to have a bit of a stop on what was being done. Lings still trying to push their way through this. Dark 37 drones only, so he's going to continue with his attack. Very committed. I almost wonder if actually as MaxPax you could kind of give up on this defense and just give up your third base and just hold a natural, because to me that's kind of how committed Dark is right now. He's just very set up to win this game. Only 14 army supply for MaxPax, and there's no way. Well, he's got DTs. DTs will defend because there's no detection right now. That's the power of the DTs in this scenario. So actually for a moment or two we will survive. DTs are going to keep us going here. We're just going to be seeing a couple of Banes still coming in. The DT still being chased around. Ling's coming back around the other way. Going to grab a probe, and the DT's still going to work. Ling's getting rid of a pylon or two. This next continuing to fall. The DT's just swiping away. 18 probes going down from MaxPax. Failings come through. They bust down a couple Dark Templar. This Nexus looks as though it is about to fall. I mean, it's down to the DTs then, really. I mean, they can still bring this back. They're in a position to, so... will they be able to do enough, I suppose, is a real question here as we come straight into the main base, sniffing away at a Spore Crawler already. And if that Spore doesn't go up, I mean, I guess we got the Overseer coming in, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. This should just be dealt with either way this time around, but I guess let's see. As we have ourselves these DTs going to get a Spore over here. 7 drones going down. This is really, I mean, Dog was obviously on a low drone kind of begin with. And he got a lot done against MaxPax, but now he's obviously fallen further behind than he maybe should be, because the damage he did was great, but he was already committed himself. And then instead of being able to drone up and just take a lead off of what he was, off of his attack, He's now taking damage off of his attack, and that means he's maybe just not done enough, which is kind of wild when you think about everything he got done here. This lack of preparation for the DTs, then being able to finally create something of a defense at home, even if it wasn't maybe in time to protect the actual main base or anything, that also is pretty notable too, so yeah. Wow. MaxPax always seeming to find just the crazy little way out, crazy little way to just about keep himself alive and kicking in these scenarios. He's kind of impressive when it comes to that, actually. There's a couple of Overlords still producing. Roaches are still on the way out. We even get that Roach speed added on here as well. 55 drones. Almost feels as though Dark is just going to go for yet another attack, and he's going to test the defense of MaxPax one more time, which I will be interested to see the result of, I think, is my theory on that one. Not completely convinced it's going to work out, but we shall see. Lings coming in, surrounding this Dark Templar. It's going to clean that out. 54 drones only. I mean, okay, MaxPax doesn't have a lot of army supply, so why am I hopeful for MaxPax here? I still feel like the DT's counterattack will probably do a lot. He's only on 4 gateways, but he's going up to 2 more. I thought... Yeah, okay. I feel like I may be falsely hopeful for MaxPax, actually. I feel like, looking at it, a big supply block for Dark, maybe that slows him down enough. I mean, if extra gates get online and extra warping comes through, it's possible you hold, right? It's just mostly Stalkers, but it's also up against just Roach Ling. A couple DDs become Archons, you can deal with the Lings easily. It's a doable defense, I think, for MaxPax for sure. Let's see, Roach is going to come around the top here. Probe comes through, try and put a pylon down. He's going to spot this attack then. Then we go on a couple of different sides. Well, I mean, we get rid of the attempt of a 4th base at least, so that's one thing for Dark. But I mean, this attack was meant to do so much more than that, obviously. So, a long way to go still is... Now the Stalker's holding off. The fact that this isn't everything of Dark all at the same time definitely seems to be quite a problem for Dark, because it just means that MaxPax is having a rather doable defense in a situation where maybe he shouldn't have been able to defend at all. Wow, Roach Ravage just flood into the natural though, so this is going to be one of MaxPax's weakness. He's got DTs though, and there's no Overseer with the Roaches, so these Roaches are abandoned. Oh no, that's kind of brutal. It's actually a little bit problematic, as you're going to see these Roaches slowly get cleaned up. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're doing good damage, right? We can't deny that. Good damage is being dealt here. It's just, again, is it going to be enough? No, I kind of feel like it, right? 34 probes left, 51 drones. It's still low tech, yes, from Dark, but I feel like it's low tech in a very doable way. Just because he should be able to swarm and overrun eventually, even against Stalkers, I want to say. Stalkers obviously can find efficiency. That said, the right now standing army of MaxPax is strong. It's good. It's 63 to 70 army supply, so the position is actually reasonable. In that regard, it's actually not so bad. You would have maybe thought it would be worse for MaxPax, but I guess obviously Dark gave up a lot of units to attack, which gave MaxPax this one opportunity to counterattack. So this is more or less it for MaxPax. He needs to do damage here. There's just no two ways about it. Let's see if he'll be able to. As it comes in, it's going to be hard because you've got to go pushing up this ramp, obviously, which just makes your life even more complicated than it already was. Yeah, obviously the position's not doing you any favors. We are rebuilding probes back at home, 3 at a time, so pretty committed to the idea of being able to rebuild out of this. Some more Roaches producing, a couple more Ravages coming in. Well, we've got ourselves the Stalker still poking at the front, trying to get rid of a 4th base of Dark. Obviously, MaxPax had his 4th denied. If he could deny a 4th of the Zerg player, then you probably feel pretty good about that as well. So Zealots coming through, Archons into the main base as well. So now trying to mix up Dark's army and force it to play in a couple different places. That typically is going to make it a little bit more difficult for Dark to defend, because his army is really good at just kind of being massed up and all stacked in one place. His army's definitely not made for this kind of split up, spread around, defend everywhere situation that we've perhaps got going on. Stalker's just clearing out overlords. Oh my goodness, what are all these guys doing over here? Dark's gonna be massively supply blocked. Another way for MaxPax to draw himself back into this. Slow down Dark's production for a while, force him to spend a bunch of additional money, minerals. Wow, that's a pretty serious cleanup, honestly. Ravagers continue to move back around, and just going to be seeing a few more drones just going down here and there. So MaxPax keeping this, for the most part, in play, honestly. Yeah, keeping this in play for the most part. Is just going to be seeing our burrow still coming up, plus one missiles, tunneling claws. All of that is still being brought in. Taking our watchtower, holding out on this gold base, and obviously this watchtower is one that can be destroyed or knocked down by the... Again, very fun, we've explained this a few times, but when you deny the rock tower, the rock tower falls onto the watchtower, and then the watchtower dies, and once the watchtower is dead, it can't be used anymore, and then you can clear out those rocks and perhaps take the gold base. Very cool little way that this map works, something very unique that we've never seen before. Just bring that up. Probably not going to see it in a game like this, I don't think. Although anything's possible. Another disruptive shot comes through. Ravagers go darting away. A few more roaches coming up as well. Trying to see what they can get done as we all join up together and just having our drones and everything. Coming through. Roaches continue to come in, by the way, and just chasing those stalkers. With disruptors, it's just so dangerous to go chasing, though. That's the issue. Stalkers are obviously good against roaches. Disruptors are even better against roaches, so you're definitely just ending up in some scarier positions than you might want to be in at any point in time. A couple of disruptors get taken down over here, so they get knocked down pretty swiftly, easily. No problems at all. Here comes that Roach Ravager army. Maxed out is Dark right now, so again, feeling pretty good about the numbers. It's still just Roach Ravager, but it's been an aggressive enough game that I feel like that's probably... I feel like it's pretty reasonable. Wow, massive disruptor shots, though. That's the issue. You're attacking into these disruptors pretty much on repeat, and disruptors are going to put in work. That is unfortunate, right? Honestly, it's just going to be seeing a few more corrosive bars landing straight in towards these stalkers. So yeah, they just keep going in. Connection after connection so far. Got more piles coming out. Disruptor +2, +3 attack, all being added for now. As you just see, our stalker's going to blink forward. Ravager's going down. The disruptor shot will fire the roaches, trying to get out of reach, trying to make themselves scarce. Stalkers are still coming through with vigor at the moment, and well, it's going to take another trade. Honestly, it feels like with +2 and these stalkers, MaxPax is just not going to ever take a bad fight, and if he never takes a bad fight, then you generally are going to end up in some trouble, right? So yeah, let's yeah, let's see. I don't know, man. Like, these Zerg units are just not doing work at all. Even surrounding these stalkers doesn't go Dark's way. He's just not got the upgrades, I feel like, to fight this at any point in time. It's becoming quite the issue. So we've seen stalkers continuing up. Roach Ravager continuing in. So next on the top side will go down, so MaxPax will be without a fourth base. A lot of probes going down as well. It doesn't seem like MaxPax is going to be able to do enough over here at first glances, but maybe that can change. 13 probes have gone down. We do get a few Ravagers, though, so picking our way through these. Those resources lost look like 25k to 22k. A little bit favoring MaxPax, which is kind of expected, right? Dark is pretty much throughout been... I mean, he's playing Roaches, right? Roaches are going to be inefficient, especially if those Disruptor shots connect. The thing is, though, I don't think Dark's ever had an economy to trade like that. Alright, so while that's a pretty normal kind of set of numbers, it's not really been the eco game and the kind of game where Dark can benefit from this and be okay with that. You know, usually that's fine. But this time it really just might not be, and that could be an actual genuine issue here as our Stalkers continue to move across. The extra probes coming into play, and just gonna see a couple of Disruptor shots coming in. Bang, bang, bang. And we get rid of a chunk of those Roaches all at once, so clearing those up without issue. I'm just gonna see still this Roach Ravager knocking on this Nexus, which is gonna get knocked down, taken out pretty much immediately. As we get good force fields, actually. Some really good force fields, no. Straight in place, gonna get rid of a lot of the Roach Ravager. We're killing drones across the map as well, so the harassment is continuing. One more Disruptors continue to come by here. Just gonna see Disruptor shot after Disruptor shot landing. Just gonna be seeing MaxPax with maybe just a little bit too much power. All said and done, it looks as though it absolutely will be. And that is gonna do it. MaxPax takes the 2-0 lead here over Dark. And it's gonna be off to 102. I was just trying to buy a bit of time for ads, but I think we're gonna be alright. Is gonna be our red Zerg player Dark. Need to kick off and get set up here. Bottom left will be our Blue Brothers player from Storm Gaming, MaxPax. Well, map 3 in Dark has been the aggressor both times around, obviously. He was the aggressor in that first game with the, the initial rush of Lings. In the last game, he became the aggressor after dealing with the Adepts, though, right? Like, last time, it was more kind of designed around, hey, you were aggressive, now it's my turn to counterattack you, and so that's a very typical thing that you see in these scenarios. Well, we'll see what kind of build MaxPax goes for again. This time, I feel like Royal Blood, nice macro map. I actually would kind of imagine him to maybe go a bit more towards the idea of, hey, look, we could perhaps go into some nice friendly little Stargate openers or something along those lines instead, right? Something a little bit different, perhaps. Could be kind of cool. Definitely some interesting opportunities here as we'll get underway. See what we end up aiming for. Link speed on the way on one side. It's going to be a Twilight Council again from MaxPax. So he just likes it, man. Just feels like it's going well. Just going to keep it up. No reason to stop, I suppose. So far, so good. I mean, if it's going well, there really isn't a reason to change it up. And to be fair, it is going well, and it's been such different games as well. And I feel like MaxPax is like, hey, look, this really didn't go well for me last time. Like, this was not a good start, and yet here I am. I'm up 2-0. I was able to turn that game around, even though it didn't start well. Well, what if the Adepts actually just get across the map and do good damage for once, right? You could obviously argue that, you know, that's not going to happen because Dark's been very good at, you know... Yeah, Dark's been very good at kind of negating that sort of stuff as well. So there is the argument on the other side for sure, but I don't know, man. I feel like MaxPax is just so good and confident with the Adepts. He knows how to deal with it when things go wrong as well, so it's kind of just fine. I don't want to say it's risk-free, but MaxPax has so many good ways out of trouble. It definitely feels like it's a lot less risky for him doing this kind of stuff than when other players try it out. Well, Rotron coming up. Glaves is in fact on the way right now, as we've already mentioned a little bit of, so again, no real surprises there. It's going to be seeing our extra gateways coming online. All of this coming up for the moment. Looking good right now. Steps will make their way across and again just threaten initially. Prism's on the way this time, so it's a very different set of you know, Adept plays, you know, from no Prism to this time of Prism. And that's one of the cool things about Adepts as well. You're not guaranteed to do the same thing every single time. Every single time you do this can be very different, in fact, so that's an absolute benefit, a huge positive to playing the Adepts. And same with Stargate as well, right? Just in general, Protoss build orders nowadays do not just have, oh, you do this, then this, and that's it. Simple, done, all easy. We all understand it. Like, it's complicated, you know? It gets complex. It's funky. Yeah, it's there's so many different ways to kind of follow up, and that's what's made Protoss players that much stronger, I feel like, as of late. They've been able to really find that kind of, you know, change up in builds and that diversity in builds that goes a very long way for them. That's definitely been helping a lot. You know, you're seeing these Adepts do commit in, they get themselves into a corner, which is typically where you want to be, so then they get themselves locked in the corner and see if they can do enough. So far, yes, drones going down, the Lings weren't able to fight, the Ravager's already a little bit pained from previously. Have our Adepts just running around silly, but now they are starting to go down. We do have a Prism though, we do have a Shade as well, so we have A, reinforcements, and B, the ability to get elsewhere when needed, when necessary. You can see these final few Adepts going down. 32 drones only though for Dark, so MaxPax has already done a good, reasonable bit of damage here. Don't think he can be too upset with that. Last couple of Adepts just trying to find a little extra towards the tail end now. And we are going to see MaxPax finally taking a third base. So that's one thing to note. With this build, it was quite a late third, and he's already on Disruptors as well for the follow-up, which would be very good in case of a counterattack. If you get counterattacked and you've got Disruptors, you're going to have a much better time typically, so I think that's going to be a big part of what we see here. Game settles down, and obviously we've got ourselves Prism Speed as well, so we're going to continue to utilize the fact that we're making these Disruptors and so on. It's just moving in towards this. So a few Adepts continuing around the sides. These Ravagers all join up together for a couple of moments. Well, what does Dog do? He's attacking himself, right? +1 melee. We're going to be seeing the Baneling Nest is coming up, for example. So all of that is just on its way in. So Disruptor shot. Does get rid of one queen in the end, obviously. 2 disruptors to get rid of a queen. They're pretty tanky. And it's still nice, though, to start chipping through that. And obviously one queen now low HP, more easily picked off a bit further down the line, for example. So definitely good things to be had there. Good damage to be done as a few extra Stalkers continue up as well. And just getting all of these warped in out towards this third base. Debs get here, Ravages and Roaches get chased away. That is going to be, yeah, still a MaxPax staying very aggressive. I am surprised just how aggressive he's being, though. I didn't think he was going to be quite as up in the face of his opponents here, quite frankly. But here we are, and he shades into a mineral line. He finds himself a chance to come through for a little bit of extra damage. Six drones going down, so continue to do very well with this so far. And just keeping the damage up and running here. As we get our Nexus coming in, just going to be seeing our Nexus coming in, the Prism around the top side, trying to see what it can do over the next couple moments. A couple of disruptive shots going as well, but not really going to be able to do too much, I don't think. A lot of Stalkers from MaxPax make their way up north, so they're going to aim a bit up to the top and see if they can get something exciting going for themselves as they start to push on through. Going to be seeing our Roach Ravager having to pull it back just a little bit. Disruptor shots helping his zone and keeping this army away. MaxPax pushing in with what, 60 army supply to 84 Dark? Well, he's gonna find the disruptors as they just wander forward. MaxPax with a micro error. Not very often MaxPax does that because MaxPax is usually so on top of his micros. One of the things he's actually very pristine at, controlling his army and getting the absolute most of it. So just gifting away some disruptors, that's not usually on his radar of things to be doing. I mean, he wouldn't be one of the best pros players in the world right now if it was something he did a lot. But yeah, a mistake made. And now a chance to capitalize as Dark. He comes across the map, so he's going to come swinging. How many disruptors we got up? Just the 2. Still up here with these Stalkers, so a bit of a base trade scenario. Dark's going to try and make it weird, maybe not comfortable in the straight-up fight right now. So like I say, just wants to make it a little bit weird, a little bit more wild. I'm just going to be aiming directly for that. Well, 11 probes going down. These units will get cleaned out, though, so that's one thing. I mean, I'm sure Dogs had to have thought about that possibility, that these units will not just absolutely dominate and that they will eventually be cleaned out. So, interested to see what his plan then becomes. Stalkers continue to push up. I mean, Dog just lost a lot of units in that counterattack, and I do not think that that was actually the play for him all said and done. You can see the numbers just aren't really in his favor anymore, and these Ravages coming through, connected in to a few of these Stalkers, trying to chase them back. Because of battles to force the blink, but I mean, the Stalkers just find so much value here, and we've seen this throughout this series at this point in time, so this is just a continuation of what was already shown to us before. So many Ravagers and Disruptors just forcing these back as well. So everyone's kind of just forcing each other to run one way, run the other way. Just non-stop with, I mean, first the Disruptors on one side, then you've got the Corrosive Bowels on the other. So that's just been a continuous affair here. Let's see these last couple of Adepts going down, but we've already lost a chunk of drones. I think Dark's just done for, guys. I mean, what a series from MaxPax. 3-0 Dark is a pretty serious statement. Saying, hey, look, I kind of mean business today, you know, I'm not messing around. Kind of gets me excited to see MaxPax in the rest of the games of this event. As at this point, I think it's looking pretty clear MaxPax has got his ticket into the next round of action, so I think that's a nigh on a guarantee at this stage. As Lings, Roaches, etc. continue through, and it's going to see these few Stalkers continue to blink back, staying out of trouble for the most part. Stalker shots coming straight in here. I mean, you've obviously gone rid of this left side base as well. Lings on the counterattack once more. You're just asking so much of these Lings, more than I think is reasonable to expect from just a little counterattack of Zerglings, right? I think that is the issue at this point in time. These Lings are expected to do way too much given the situation, and that means they're likely just going to end up in a bunch of trouble. As we gather on together, and just going to be seen still the Stalkers just regrouping, setting to go again. Disruptor shot still well on the way too, and that's just something that's so difficult to get rid of at this point in time. Not sure it's going to be easily possible to stop these Disruptors. You don't have good tech against them, right? It's not like you've been able to get up to Hive and some Vipers, or just a proper way to deal with them. That's just not a thing, so unfortunately continuing to struggle because of it, and continue to sit in some issues. Stalker's all over the bases. Stalker's going to win this. MaxPax's going to win this, and that's going to be a 3-0 from MaxPax. A pretty impressive showing, to say the very least, putting himself in great positions, holding off against all sorts of aggression from Dark as well, so really doing what Dark is, dealing with what Dark is typically very well known for, I think is obviously impressive too, because he really kind of, took on a, Dark playing Dark kind of style. Aggressive, I'm going to be up in your face, I'm going to be aggro, I'm going to do some all-ins and stuff. That's exactly what we saw here. MaxPax just comes out 3-0 convincing. It's some